U.S. President Joe Biden's speech to the UN General Assembly facing criticism as the annual summit gets underway. Well, he backed Israel's right to defense, but also warned against a full-scale war in Lebanon. The Lebanese foreign minister labeled the message not strong, not promising, saying the U.S., which is Israel's closest ally, is the only country that can make a difference.
The more we think about it, is the United States is the key to our, I would say, salvation, if I can use this word.
Well, the U.S. president was among a slew of world leaders focusing on Middle East conflicts. Mitch McCann brings us more from the UN headquarters.
As the Israeli Defense Force and Hezbollah militants exchanged fire across Israel's northern border with Lebanon, known as the Blue Line, the United Nations Secretary General called for a de-escalation from all sides.
Gaza is a non-stop nightmare that threatens to take the entire region with it. Look no further than Lebanon. We should all be alarmed by the escalation. Lebanon is at the brink. The people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the people of the world cannot afford Lebanon to become another Gaza.
Those comments from Antonio Guterres opened the General Assembly here in New York and reflected sentiment shared by the day's most high-profile speaker. Joe Biden used his final address to the United Nations as US President to highlight his foreign policy achievements and the worsening situation in the Middle East.
Full-scale war is not in anyone's interest. Even if the situation has escalated, a diplomatic solution is still possible. In fact, it remains the only path to lasting security to allow the residents from both countries to return to their homes and the border safely.
Israel's ambassador to the UN later suggested his country was open to de-escalation, telling reporters, "We are not eager to start any ground invasion anywhere. We prefer a diplomatic solution," he said. Iran's president also demanded the fighting stop and added that Israel was guilty of committing crimes against humanity.
It is imperative that the international community should immediately stop the violence and bring about a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and bring an end to the desperate barbarism of Israel in Lebanon before it engulfs the region and the world.
Nearly a year since the war in Gaza started, President Biden spoke about the trauma facing families of hostages taken on October 7 and civilians in Gaza who, as he put it, are going through hell.
Now is the time for the parties to finalize its terms, bring the hostages home, and secure security for Israel and Gaza free of Hamas' grip, ease the suffering in Gaza, and end this war.
But the talks to come to an agreement are stalled, and there are reports Hamas leadership has written to the United Nations Secretary General demanding immediate action to end the war, saying it's not interested in re-entering negotiations as it would provide Israel cover to continue its aggression. Mitch McCann, CNA at the United Nations in New York.